Quarantine's giving us all kinds of content. What's up everybody, DBTV here, and today we have another video for you. Recently somebody recommended to me something that MKBHD did not too long ago, but a what's on my phone video, and I figured as much as I talk about cell phones and I review them and I give my input on them, why not show what's on mine? So we're just gonna jump right into it. So here on my phone, the way it works on my main page, I have pretty much all the main apps that I use on a regular basis on the first page, and especially important apps for my home or my finance, work-related things, as far as email and all my content. That's all saved on my front page in folders or by themselves. Pretty much everything that I use on almost a daily basis is saved on my main page or my first page of my phone. And then on my second page, you'll see that I have all of my kind of other apps that I don't use hardly ever, but sometimes I have a use for them. They're saved away in different specified folders and things like that. We'll dive into that, but these are kind of apps that I don't really use a whole lot. Occasionally I'll need them for something, and I usually just search them anyway through the search function on the iPhone, nothing further than that. But I digress. Let's get right into it. So I use the default messages and phone app. I do use the default calendar app. I haven't really found another one that works well. I don't really put a whole lot of stuff in the calendar anyway. The two things that I have shown in there right now are concerts that we have set up to go to later in the year. Ticketmaster automatically puts them in. When you get an email from Ticketmaster in your Apple Mail app, it just immediately inserts it into your calendar app. You don't even ever look at it. So that's why I have two of those right there, but I don't use the calendar app a whole lot. Maybe if I had more going on, I probably would, but that's for another day. I do use the default Photos app, and I use the default Reminders app. If any of you guys have a suggestion for the Reminders app, if there's a better one out there that kind of has a better functionality than the iPhone Reminders app, let me know. Tell me down in the comments below which ones you would recommend for iPhone. I don't have an Android, so you can keep those. But if they're available on the app store, definitely let me know about it, because I'm looking for a more centralized but clean looking Reminders app. The regular stock Apple one is okay, but I want to know if there's some out there with a little bit better customization. I do use both the default Apple Weather app as well as Dark Sky. Shout out to MKBHD. I saw this on a video of his and I absolutely loved it. Went and bought it. It's $5. It's a great looking, just absolutely wonderful weather app. You can check it out. It shows you a live radar of exactly where you're at. Really great, really cool, super intuitive. You can look at a whole map of your state. It's kind of got everything that you need all in one weather app. Now I will say that sometimes both of them aren't exactly accurate with each other. So I have them both just to check them and see what does Dark Sky say, what does the Apple Weather say, go from there. And I kind of just base, how the weather's gonna be for the day or the week off of a combination of the two things. I kind of, I'm no meteorologist, but you can usually guess when they're pretty close on the same two apps. I use the default camera app on the iPhone. I don't think anybody else uses external camera apps. If you do, let me know, but I've never heard of any. I do use the default Apple Maps. Never needed to get Google Maps. Apple Maps has served me just fine. I do use Safari. I know a lot of people use Google Chrome on their iPhones. Safari has never given me any problems, and its main search engine is Google. I like the way it looks. I've gotten comfortable with it after having an iPhone for all these years, and I never used Google Chrome outside of a PC. So I just like to stick with Safari. It's what I know. So nothing big there. As far as emails go, I have Gmail for all of my actual Gmail accounts for my YouTube, the podcast, things like that. My regular mail app is for all other personal emails that I've accumulated over the years. And then Outlook I have here just strictly for work and school. I never check them. Aside from that, I just kind of let the notifications build up. I'll go through and clear them, call it good. I hardly ever use the actual Outlook app unless I absolutely have to. If I'm out of town needing to respond to work emails, I'll occasionally open it. Other than that, it's useless to me. In my device apps, you'll see I have the iTunes Store, the App Store, the Watch app, and then recently I've been using Gboard, which is the Google keyboard that you can integrate into your iPhone. I've been only using this, and you can see here when I open up Apollo, we'll go over this one in a second, that it's a little bit smaller than the Apple keyboard that everyone's used to seeing, but it's got a few extra things. You got Google Translate. You can look up certain emojis and GIFs. You can start making GIFs, things like that. It's just, I wanted to give it a test. It's been really good. The autocorrect doesn't work the same way as the iPhone's does, so that has kind of been a hindrance. I got really big thumbs. It's a smaller keyboard, but other than that, it's been a really great experience so far. Next, you'll see my finance. This is just kind of things I go through, my PayPal, my wallet app, places to pay bills and things like that. My content folder is really big. So I have the regular YouTube app. I have the YouTube Studio app where I go through, check analytics of videos, things like that. And then I also have Anchor, which is the podcast platform where you can distribute your podcast through all the major podcast platforms. Side note, our podcast will be coming back very soon. Shout out to Calvin. We are in the plans and in the makings of getting our podcast back up and running now that I'm in the new house. We have ways to do it around the coronavirus. Stay home, kids. But nonetheless, it's going to be coming back very soon, so stay tuned for that. Then I have Buffer. Buffer is kind of an app where you can post to multiple social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, if you have it, things like that. I use it occasionally for the podcast, posting to all the podcast platforms. I don't really use it for much else, but it is helpful on occasion. So if you want to look into something like that, I definitely recommend Buffer. I have 2 9to5 apps. They don't have 9to5 Google, which is one of my favorite ones to look at, but they do have 9to5 Mac, which is okay. The UI is a little clunky, but it's not terrible. And then 9to5 Toys, same thing. They all come from the same people. So decent news apps for all my tech needs. I'd recommend getting them. I would also recommend just having their tweet notifications on Twitter because you get this stuff way faster than the app. But I have them here just in case. Then on to my home apps, I have all my home automation things that I need. So stuff like Ring, Google Home, Google Assistant. I have C by GE for all of my smart lights. We're gonna be getting more for the office. We're gonna have a lot nicer thing to look at here in the back whenever I start getting more lights and things like that. So I use that. Lorex Home I have for our camera system throughout our whole house. Speed test for internet, and then some more things to pay bills and look at weather and things like that. Nothing too huge, nothing too major. Just your basic home needs if you're trying to automate your house. Obviously I have Discord here. I'm now opening up our Discord for the community. It is going to consist of the Waterboys Tech Talk podcast, my YouTube channel here, Calvin, if he ever creates a YouTube channel, pretty much a place for all of our community to just have one centralized place to talk about all things podcasts, YouTube channels, recommend topics for either of those things, just talk about tech stuff. That's going to be linked in the description below. So if you do want to join something like that, you just want to talk tech with a bunch of people, feel free to join that. I have Snapchat. Don't use Snapchat a whole lot. Me and my wife will Snapchat our dogs back and forth occasionally. That's about all I use it for. So, you know how it goes. My extras app, I have the notes. I use the notes occasionally when I'm doing, different videos, things like that. And I need to bounce between my iPad or my Mac. I really use it mostly for grocery shopping. I'll type up our grocery list on my iPad, and then when we get out there, I'll have my notes and we'll go from there. So InPass, a password keeper I used to use. I don't use a whole lot, but occasionally I need to pull something from it. Pinterest, Life 360. My mother likes to keep track of where we are. She's a very nervous person, so she likes to know where all of us kids are at one time. Life 360 is the way to go. If you're that nervous mom or dad and you need some way to track your kids and not be really sneaky about it, Life 360 is pretty good. Shows real time how fast they're going on the highway, battery percentages, things like that. It's not a bad app. It took me a little getting used to when I was a kid, but now I get it. It's not a big deal. I just kind of hide it away and I don't really use it much after that. The Reddit app I have here, just in case something doesn't open properly on Apollo. Files, nothing really major. There's Calvin texting me. Shout out to Calvin. Waterboy Tech Talk podcast coming back soon. I don't know how many more times I'm gonna plug it, but we'll see. Authy I use for work. I have to have 2-factor authentication for a lot of my work programs, so Authy is the way I go for that. Apple TV, Paycom. Actually, I don't use Paycom anymore. I don't know why that's still here. SeatGeek occasionally. Shouts out to David Dobrik. Use promo code David for 20% off or $20 off your first purchase. That's my boy. Shouts out to David. Anyway, so that's my extras app. My entertainment app, I have things like the Vine camera. That's just still here. Mostly the things I use in here are guitar tabs and GUI Tune or Guitar Tune. I play a lot of guitar on the side, and I get a lot of the songs that I learn and the tabs of songs that I want to learn off of that app. It's really great. If you pay for the whole version, I think it's like $12. I bought it a long time ago, But if you are into guitars and playing music and you want to learn tabs of a ton of songs, I do recommend spending the money on getting this app. It is a great app to use, very informative, teaches you real nice and easy. There's tons of stuff on there. It would be a whole video to go into, but if you are into playing guitars, definitely look into this app. Got your basic Hulu, Netflix, HBO Go, stuff like that. Guitar Center app, obviously. I have Mimo. Mimo is an app that you can learn to code on the go. Pretty much you come in here, you can learn how to code some HTML, you can go through, it tells you what different things mean about different coding languages. So here you got HTML, tells you a little bit about HTML, stuff like that, and you kind of just learn as you go. I do this a lot at work when I have downtime and I don't want to get online and look at a whole bunch of tutorial videos. I'll take 15, 20 minutes of a break during my day, look through a few things to code. Really cool app if you're wanting to get into some basic coding. Next we have Byte. I do still use that occasionally. I have a video on that one too here. Really cool. It's like a Vine reincarnation. Definitely go check that out as well. Got your AMC, Twitch. I used to stream on Twitch. I don't anymore. I still do indulge in watching streams though. I'm a real esports fanatic, so I spend a lot of time watching my streams on that, or watching my esports on Twitch. So definitely go check that out as well. I got my school stuff, Dropbox, Word, Google Drive, stuff I use to keep all my school things centralized with all my teammates and my capstone projects and stuff like that. Nothing really major there. Businesses, it's labeled business, but this is literally just when I want to search for jobs. I don't use this for any real business, just when I'm tired of what I'm doing now and I'm like my day job and I want to change day jobs, this is where I look. Work related, this is all the stuff from my current day job, things like our ticketing system, ways to, get our desks and things at work, Zoom, Teams, all that fancy stuff, nothing big. The last few things, you have these games here. I'm not a big gamer, but I do occasionally like to look at the Apple Arcade. I thought it was a really cool idea when they first brought out the Apple Arcade, and it was a really great way to start giving game designers a way to release games through a published platform and not have to, have ads throughout their mobile games. And they did a really good job of picking a lot of studios to make these games, and I just like checking them out and seeing how good they are. And these two games, pretty nice looking, I will say. And the last thing I have here is DraftKings. Now, DraftKings has finally put in Rocket League as a fantasy sport. You can go in and you can bet on, different Rocket League games as far as what's going on today, later down the line. You choose your players who are playing that day, all that kind of stuff. I'm a huge esports fanatic, and I've been waiting for stuff like this to happen. I've been really pushing esports to be a more mainstream thing. Definitely go try out esports. Now, a better time than ever. Go check out esports. There's no other sports on right now. Esports is still really cool, especially if you're into video games. There's even games that aren't super hard to pick up as a person who's never played video games, like Rocket League. It's literally just soccer with rocket-powered cars. It's really fun. I enjoy esports more than I enjoy real sports now, so that's just a little tidbit of that. Anyway, they have fantasy esports now. I wanted to check it out, so I've been looking at that for the last couple days. That's gonna do it for my phone. If you want the link to my background, I'll see if I can find the place on Reddit where I got it, and I'll link that down below. Also, I'm gonna be linking the Discord down below. Please feel free to join that. I'm looking for a place for my community to come hang out and really talk about what's been going on in the videos or what will be going on in the podcast. Any topic suggestions you'd like to see or videos you would like to see, reviews, anything like that. Definitely this is the place to put it in. This is where I will see it the quickest. And also definitely let me know about all the apps that you'd recommend down below. And that's gonna do it for today's video. We'll see you next time.